to your Talking Basketball Podcast. Mark, you've been busy.
I've been busy again.
You've been busy with those intros.
Busy and busy and busy. Well, you said I've got to make a few every now and again, so I thought, why not?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, it's coming along, isn't it?
That is a 9.5 out of 10.
9.5. What would push it over the edge?
I don't know, but that's a good one.
Well, welcome everybody to another edition of the Portsmouth Basketball Podcast. I am Mark.
I am Paul, and we are in our northern
office.
Northern studio.
Northern location.
I wonder if anyone will pick up that it sounds slightly different.
Well, I don't know.
More intimate in here, innit? A bit closer.
But we haven't got northern accents.
No.
And that's the important thing.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't bring my passport. I know we're very far north, but you know.
Yeah.
So, we better get cracking. How is everyone listening today? BBL, there's been a lot of activity. NBA, there's been a lot of activity.
Yeah. In England, it's been very stormy, Mark. It's stormy like the BBL.
Yeah, super stormy. But I'm going to kick it off this week.
Look out that window, Mark. Look at the trees.
Yeah, they're not happy.
Being thrown around.
Thrown around. Yeah, even down the beach, there was some nice big bits of wall that have been moved. So, yes, if you are listening and you are enjoying the breeze, I hope you haven't had too much damage going on. And if you're in different countries, well, I'm sure you're enjoying lovely sunshine or snow. So I'm going to kick off this week, and I'm going to start with the NBL.
We having a jingle?
We can have it. What jingle would you like today?
Well, I think that one.
I think that was the perfect one. And the reason is because the NBL is our National Basketball League in the UK. And as we've said before, the BBL is its own thing. It's its own tier. It's a pyramid of one, so to speak. But the NBL, from the Portsmouth Force in Division 3.
The mighty Portsmouth Force, Mark.
The mighty Portsmouth Force.
Yes.
Then you've got Division 2, then you've got Division 1. And in NBL, Division 1, Essex Rebels had a crowd attendance of 1,077.
That is BBL standard.
That's really good, isn't it?
That is BBL standard.
And I just want to start with that. So congratulations to them. And, it's nice seeing lots of people going out to watch what is, I would say, arguably the core basketball in the UK. Because if you think of all of the local league teams, and then you have the divisional local teams, and then you have BBL.
It's achievable, isn't it?
It's achievable. People can see.
A local league team could start a team and you could end up in the NBL Div 1.
Yeah. And when we've interviewed people like Simon, and we've interviewed Rob and Tom, and a lot of the people who have come up through just doing their fundamentals, basic basketball, then getting into local teams and then local leagues and progressing through. When you see an NBL team, that's like the top tier that you progress to. BBL is its own thing, and obviously you'd love to get there, but you also have EuroLeague, you also have NBA, so they're all separate products, but NBL was where you can get to. So I thought that was amazing.
Well, 1,000 people, that's massive.
1,077.
That's massive.
That's fantastic.
Big credit to them.
Yeah, massive.
I mean, that is a attendance worthy of BBL standard.
That's the sort of attendance that, arguably, if there was enough seating, I'm sure we could get in.
Maybe. I mean, I know, is it Reading Rockets they were looking at there as well? And I think there was a Brighton team that were looking at it. So maybe we should add Essex as a third potential going into the BBL. Potential. They've got the, sounds like the capacity.
And they've got the love for it, and they've got people who want to go and watch it. And that's why I wanted to bring it in, because I think it's lovely seeing people wanting to go and watch basketball.
Yeah.
And that's a divisional league. The BBL, it's got all the razzmatazz, it's got all the Showtime stuff. We get that. This is National League. They still have a level of that, but there's that many people going to watch it.
Yeah.
That's really encouraging for when you see the Force, when you see other teams all progressing through.
And when you said the only thing I was slightly disappointed about this was I couldn't look up and tell you where Essex were in Div 1 standings.
Yeah.
And I'm going to continue with us just being honest with this. And that's why I think a lot of people are enjoying listening, because we're saying it how we think and how we feel, and we're saying it straight up. And a lot of people are like, look, you're taking away a lot of the BS of what people sometimes hide, which is at the moment, there's a problem with the Basketball England website, so you can't actually go on and look at the current standings for anyone in the in the NBL. So it's that's the first thing I went. I can go and look at their fixtures and guess and summarize it, but I just thought, hang on, come on, Basketball England, get the tables up. I mean, maybe they're waiting until it's a bit more substantial, like 5 games in or something.
Do it manually. I don't care. It should be a service they should be providing.
It should be.
Everyone's paid. Correct me if I'm wrong, but if you're a player, you pay into the league. Correct if I'm wrong.
You do.
Yeah. So where's that money go then?
I don't know about the financial side of stuff.
No, I'm just saying.
But everything else is there. And you got to say, for the actual BE organisation, it is amazing as far as what they're doing. And if you look at the website, you see everything. It's brilliant. It's like, oh man, just come on, get the tables up. I just want to see where the Force are in the rankings, compared to everyone else and stuff like that. And then when you mentioned that, was it Essex
Rebels?
Essex Rebels. First thing I went to do is, right, let's see where they are in the table. Oh, it's not up. It's not up yet. So
I have a theory about that.
What, the actual table standings?
So one of the things I noticed when we brought everything over into Talking Basketball and we moved it all across, we were still out of season for the BBL. We hadn't started yet the season for the NBL, and the NBA obviously hadn't started. So we were effectively out of season for basketball. And we were up in like 6th in the charts then, and we'd only just started and thought, that's weird. It's because no one else was. It's almost like people take a break for like 3 or 4 months. Then as more activity happened, we went
millionth down. Now?
No, not at all. We're like 11th, 12th. Yeah, we're still really, really good in the charts and globally. We're doing really well, So thank you everyone for listening. By the way, it goes without saying. We really massively appreciate it. We hope you enjoy the show. But it's the amount of activity, and that activity, I know there's something you're going to be talking about later that has had loads of activity talking about it on the internet, with people trading this week. And that's where you see all these shows come up and you see all the activity come up on the internet. But other than that, things go very quiet. So I think generally it's just everyone warming into the season. And they're they're just picking up, we've got to get these tables out. We've got to do all this. It's like, yeah, you should be ready for all this stuff. There's some teams don't even get their schedule out or let people know when their next fixtures are coming up. You're seeing all sorts.
Fixtures are always quite a challenge, but yeah, I mean the table, whatever code or whatever setup you use from the previous year, you should be able to just translate that, I'd imagine. I mean this is coming from a web design perspective as well. That should be fairly straightforward.
It's just a spreadsheet and you put the numbers in and you put it out there, even if it was really basic. Even if you didn't have all of the breakdown of the scores, here's the score. That's all I want to see. Where's the table and here's the score.
But I don't want to be too harsh on BE because they do a lot of great stuff, and it's just the standings. I just want to see the standings. So
I think that is the area if they polish it up, because ultimately, as much as the BBL is a great product and they're doing some good things with it, it's a product, and the BBL is very clear that it is a product. It's not necessarily a league on its own. It's a product, like the NBA. It's a product. The NBL is a league, and like all football leagues, that is something, it's certainly in the UK, that people would understand or at least relate to. Even if you don't follow football, you understand there's a tier system. You start here, you progress up.
The Americans start, I guess, with like the whole Wrexham thing. They're starting to learn, oh, hang on, you have a bad season, you're relegated. You're out of the league.
You go down. Yeah. And you look at baseball, you look at NFL, you look at the NBA and NHL as well. They don't have tier systems. So correct me if I'm wrong, maybe there is one in NHL. I'm not sure on that as much. But those sort of things, they're realizing, it's not just a league of one. Yeah. It's a league of many, and you can drop if you don't have the funding or you don't have this or something changes. So yeah, very interesting. But
big shout. What is it? Essex Cobras. Big shout out
Rebels.
To them. Oh, Essex Rebels.
If you want to change your name to the Cobras though.
No, it's because the Portsmouth Force are taking on the Cobras this week, and that's why that's in my head. So the Essex Rebels. Well, big shout out to him. I'd like to think that they're near the top of the Div 1 mark.
I'd like to think so.
How are they getting on in the season?
We will never know. I don't know. I literally saw it as a news pet, and it saw it flash up, and I thought, that's awesome. Yeah. So I just wanted to give them a shout out.
Well, there's a potential BBL team coming.
Maybe, but let's take you over to the BBL. You've got something on the BBL this week, haven't you?
I have, Mark, and I think I'll go for that one. No, the one underneath it. Mark, that's it. The buzz is gone. Season's over. Season's over. So I said this to you before. If the Lions go to the Eagles' nest and get that win, the season is over. And I'm sticking to my guns, okay? Now, what I would say, and again, this is me just being honest, when I'm reading quotes such as, it's tight in the BBL Championship as we head into week 8. It's not tight. The season is gone. It is over. Definitely for the top spot in the championship standings anyway. I mean, let's look at this. London are 11-0 at the moment. Caledonia are the only one, the next team I'd say with 2 losses, but they've only played 7 games. And then you've got Bristol with 3 losses, and they've only played 10 games. So, I mean, as a mathematician, I'm looking at that going, looking at those stats, there's probably a good chance that those teams there are going to end on maybe around 10 to 12 losses if that pattern continues. London Lions, they have had a few close games.
You bringing statistics in it already?
Yeah. It just turns into maths at a certain point. Like, we're over a quarter of the way through.
Like maths homework.
We're approaching a third of the way through the season. London have had a few close games. I mean, I will go as far as to say, and I said this to you before, I think they might, by the end of the season, pick up maybe 3-4 losses. And then what did we do? I just showed you last season standings, and what the first thing we saw, London Lions top 4 losses, and I went, oh, okay, that looks like it's going to be a similar end standings than last year. And it's, I mean, I'll be honest, when I look at the table now, I kind of ignore the top 1. The rest of it is definitely tight.
You ignore them, you just ignore it.
Well, they've won. That's it. The season's over. Like, as far as the league is concerned, I'd say give them the trophy now, and say see you later. If they lost, they're not going to lose 3-4 in a row, and it's suddenly going to be on the cards again. So I've got the squeakiest chair in the world as well.
Yeah, it's your bones. Do you know what? This is leading into the point I'm going to make. So I'm going to throw it in with this one. We can mould it in. You say Bristol. You say that about London Lions, Bristol Flyers, Caledonia. The Flyers.
No, I'm saying London Lions.
Are running away.
They're running away from it. Everyone else, I think it is a tight season and everyone can beat everyone. I agree with that.
I want to say that the Flyers, they lost their first 3 games. Yeah. And a couple of them, maybe they could have done a bit better. They were finding their feet. They've now gone 7 straight wins.
Yeah, they're doing all right.
And they're second in the league. And I know they've got 2 games on Caledonia, but they are second in the league at the moment. And I don't know. They were a team that I fancied them as a team. I like their logo. I like what they were doing and everything. But 7 straight wins, that's pretty impressive. So yeah, I wanted to give them a shout out this week because I think that's worthy. From having a rocky start and having 3 losses where at least 1 was a throwaway. And those wins that they've had are not difficult. They're not easy wins either. They've had some tough ones. But unless they can knock the Lions off.
Bristol are not far from us, Mark. That's not that far.
They're not. They're not at all. Go down to Ashton Vale and check them out. But I agree with you. I think it does seem a bit over. And then I guess the question is, if it does feel over like this, what's the incentive to watch?
Well, there's definitely incentive to watch because I think the rest of the teams playing each other, everyone's beating everyone. There's a couple of times someone's taken, got London quite close. Like we saw the Eagles at the Copper Box. You also, the one fixture I'm looking forward to now, I haven't got it. I know you're going to throw me under a bus and say, yeah, where is that? Anyway, The one fixture I'm looking forward to now is when London have to travel to Scotland, because the Gladiators are undefeated at home. And that is something I'm looking forward to. And the Gladiators are also third in the table. They've only got 2 losses. Yeah. So if anyone's going to push them, I think it's the Gladiators.
They got their stadium now. And some of those games they've had, I will say, on all of these BBL games, one thing that really does stand out, and it was a bit like that NBL game, was the crowds. They're really getting behind all the teams and really providing a great atmosphere. That you're not seeing any of these games on the highlights, watching them full sky, however you're, viewing them. That the crowds are there and they're really getting into it.
Yeah.
So that's really positive to see, certainly for basketball in the country. It's really good to see that all of those people want to be involved in it.
Well, Mark, that's my point. I just want to say, congratulations to the London Lions. You have won the...
Wow, 2nd of November, you're calling that.
Yeah, I'll call it that. It's over, Mark. It's done. It's done. If they lose the next 3 games, then I will apologise and eat my hat, as it were. But, the season's over. As far as that top spot, season's over. But look, the rest of the teams they're exciting games. I mean, you just need to look at the game tonight. It's all exciting games coming. So
you've got another game you want to talk about?
Yes. Do I?
Caledonia.
The Gladiators. Yeah. So there was a hang on. I need a buzzer for this, Mark. I'll do that one. It's fine. So we've got to talk about the Gladiators, Caledonia Gladiators, undefeated at home, and they took on the Leicester Riders. And if you have not seen the highlights, go and look at the highlights. It finished 84-83, and what a finish. What a finish. But before I talk more about the game, I want to show you something, Mark. We've been talking about this for a while. Look what I found. This is the Caledonia Gladiator kit. We've been saying, I hope there's a tartan trim.
That's where we saw it.
And that's, look at that tartan.
I said down the side of the, yes.
That makes sense. That is absolute genius.
Right, you've got some homework. I've got some homework for you.
What?
You were so obsessed with that tartan.
Yeah.
I want you to find out if there is a clan that is associated with that particular type of tartan.
I'd be shocked if it's not like a clan in that area. I'd be shocked.
The Caledonia, they used to be Glasgow Rocks, didn't they? And it's Glaswegian, it's in that area. So I just, you have your Scottish heritage, there's your homework. That's all you got to do for next week. You just got to find out if there is.
I'll see if I can think of giving you some homework as well. But anyway.
No, we'll tell you what, why don't we speak to Caledonia? We'll speak to the media team and see if they can let us know.
I'm sure there'll be reference to a clan nearby for sure.
That is cool.
We've been saying it. There's got to be tartan trim. The only way it could be better if it actually felt like tartan on the side.
Is it only on the light blue kit?
I don't know. No. Look. Let me go back. Let me.
I want to see.
For those,
is it on the dark blue kit?
Obviously, no one can see what I'm doing, but I've taken a picture of these 2 kits. So look, there's the dark blue kit,
yes,
and it's got the trim. Oh, we said it.
Do you know what? I think I prefer it on the light blue trim, actually.
I didn't pick up on that, if I'm honest. I did not pick up on that. So I'd like to think that they changed their kit based on us saying that they wanted
100%.
tartan. That's what happened.
As we like to say, Caledonia, you're welcome.
You're welcome.
You are welcome.
Going into the Coliseum. So the Leicester Riders are at the Coliseum, Mark, a few days ago. And look, we got a talk about the fact that it's still undefeated. Patrick Whelan with 24 points, 4 rebounds and 5 assists. I got to say it like that because he was on fire.
Yeah.
He was outstanding. He was bloody outstanding. I got to talk about towards the end of the game, he had a huge clutch 3-pointer. And then he took a charge straight after. I love it. I love seeing clutch charges. It takes a lot of testicular fortitude to take charges, and he took it. I also think I want to say that 3 at the end, I think it might have been a back-to-back 3. I think he hit 2 threes in the last couple of plays.
Wow.
And it was great. He hit this huge 3. And then, the one of the outstanding players for the Leicester Riders, I don't know his first name, but Mackenzie. I would almost say one of the poster boys for the BBL.
Yep.
He had, again, you got to say, a huge shot where he might have lost the ball for a split second, drove in, top of the key, jump shot, boom, took the lead by 1 point with 7.5 seconds left. Oh, hang on, I'll be specific, 7.7 seconds on the clock mark.
Oh, God.
It came down to Patrick Whelan once again, and his court vision. So one of his assists came in this last play with 7 seconds left. Patrick Whelan pushed the ball down low to Clifton Moore. Arguably one of the clutch plays of the season, potentially. And Clifton Moore, baseline. No, was it baseline? In the key towards the left-hand side. Turn around. Boom. 84, 83. And huge clutch plays from Clifton Moore and Patrick Whelan. But I've got to say it, Mark. Got to say, the Riders could have won. Now, if I said to you, Mackenzie had a shot just inside the 3-point, I think his feet might have been on the 3-point line. I won't say it wasn't contested because there was a guy very close to him, but it was difficult to see from the angle of the TV what that I saw. But it looked like it was contested, but the guy had already passed him. So it wasn't wide open, but he didn't have long left. And I want to say it might have been an air ball. It might have been an air ball, really? Or it might have touched the front of the ring and bounced down. I couldn't see it, but it was close, but it was like it didn't even go anywhere near the rim, really.
So he doesn't make the list for person you want shooting.
I tell you what, look, he's clutch. He is clutch. He's one of the best ball handlers in the league. But he has got
not that day.
Got to be disappointed. He's got to be frustrated with himself.
Arguably, those are the shots that make the difference.
I want to say he could have won the game. He could have won the game. I mean, you got that guy shooting for the game. You take that. You'd take that, but didn't go in. So that. I'm not going to take anything away from Patrick Whelan and Clifton Moore, yeah. But great game to watch. So if you haven't seen the highlights, check out those highlights. Great game. Can I just make a point, Mark? I've got another point on highlights I want to talk about.
Do it.
There we go. Some of the highlights, I think they should be more... they should involve more highlights in the BBL. So what I'm noticing in the live games, there might be a bit of action, a bit of argy-bargy. The guys coming from like us, from watching 80s basketball, 90s basketball, we love watching that physical play. And when you're watching live games, some of these guys, you can see they're frustrated. They're not best friends. It's great to see when you get competitors like that go in for it. That doesn't translate into the highlights.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't. Like, if you have two guys really going for each other, I'm not talking about a punch up, but if you got two guys, show that. That's what people want to see. That's what creates the excitement in an all-star game when these two players are now north and south going against each other and everyone's kind of, picking their guy to win. I just don't understand it. It's like, and I apologize if I upset anyone now, but what I'm going to say is, in England, we're a bit like, we can't have that. That might upset someone on TV. That we can't show that physical. So that's what we want to see. You'll put UFC on and boxing when two people are trying to kill each other, but we won't put two people in a basketball game pushing each other. I don't get it. Show it. Show the frustration.
Yeah, I think there's an element of control, like we've seen from the BBL, and we've seen it quite through a few things. Controlling what the package is, what what the BBL as a entity is, how it's presented, how the world see it, what they want to show, etc., etc. The marketing, all those things. So I'd imagine there's a whole element of control surrounding that. But
yeah, I'm sure that's what it comes down to. But, you know, as a basketball fan, I'm saying I would love to see a bit of argy-bargy, a bit of frustration from the players.
I know
it's good to see.
I know in the European leagues, I know some of those games, they show all of it. They show all the frustration. They show all the excitement.
Yeah.
And
over here, something happens, bam, turn away and focus on the coach.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah,
I want to see that. Like, I want to, you know.
And do you know what? I think you're right in that, because it's doing one thing that makes people, I want to say, step back from the BBL, but not embrace it as much. And that is, if you don't see the passion, you can't be passionate about it. And you can't have, like, who's your favorite player in the BBL? I don't know. Whereas if you say, who in the NBA, oh, they just showed a highlight of someone doing this. Dylan Brooks got his ass beaten and something like that. Or wherever you go, well, I know who he is because he's a character and they've shown him do things and they've shown him do. You don't have to like him. Like Reggie Miller, he leaned into the fact that he was the villain, but he was amazing. And everyone knows, even if people didn't like Reggie Miller and he was on the opposite team, there was a grudge match, whatever it was, he was like the Darth Vader, but you knew who he was.
Yeah.
And I can understand in the BBL, they're trying to build this league and build this whole package, but we haven't got too many people that, even in the basketball community, would say, "Oh, have you seen this player?" And I feel, and not feel sorry for the players in that respect, but you go, that's ultimately what they really want. That's what, you know, when you go to the NBA, you want to be a superstar.
Yeah, I think they should with
It's
more the
missing
highlights.
that passion.
Play.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if passion is the word I'd use, but it's just maybe show realism, the frustration where two players are going for each other. Play it, because that creates rivalry. I mean, look at Magic and Bird, what like that created. Look at the Pistons and going for Jordan. I mean, the bad boys going for anyone. Like look at all of that. I'd show it. But
Yeah. I'm touching on a point similar to this actually a bit later on.
But it was something I've noted over the last kind of month, really. That I thought, oh, that was I think there was an incident in an Eagles match, and I was like, oh, right, this is awesome. And then it didn't get in the highlights, and I was like, wow, that was actually quite a pivotal play, like a moment in the game there. And it doesn't. If you don't include it, it felt like the highlights were missing something because I'd seen the game. But yeah, something worth mentioning. Just an opinion, Mark. Just an opinion.
Well,
I apologise if I upset anyone.
No, you don't. The laugh has made the sincerity all that more real. I'm gonna give. Wow, that's a double. Did you mean to do that? So I put them together. So, Leicester Riders, you just mentioned them. This is on a positive note for the Leicester. They came back from a 23-point deficit to beat Surrey Scorchers.
That's huge.
And that's the biggest deficit that a BBL team has come back to win from. And I think that's, as achievement, the game was all right. Everyone put their effort in.
Surrey got to be frustrated. They come off their first W and they're up by 23.
Here's the thing. You come off the first W, up by 23, and when you look at their score sheet, they got a nice, quite an even score sheet. Lots of sort of double digits.
They were for that. They were for that home win.
They really wanted it. You've got Thomas, Pinson, and Asbury. Between those three,
Asbury. What's his first name? What's the letter? I remember it from last time.
What do you mean? You remember the letter from last time?
Because we brought him up a few times. Jalen, is it?
Caleb
Asbury. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So between them, they were like 50 points.
Yeah. And you got to say potential all-star there.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, Riders historically, we've come into this. We're fresh, as many of the listeners are. We're fresh into the BBL, even though we love basketball for over 30 years. It's something that's just always bypassed us ever since those 80 sort of decades, and it's sort of dwindling from our local city. But Leicester have always had quite a strong team, and they've always been, in and around that top.
Didn't they win it like
they
2 years ago?
They had a good run as well.
2021, I think they won it, didn't they?
And they have been quite dominant. And it was, I think there was an era where it was like, oh no, Leicester are doing it again. So, you know, they have always been up that forefront. So to come back still when you're 23 points down, and what it reminded me of is when we're in the States and we're watching Orlando Magic versus Indiana Pacers. And it was the shortest game in basketball history.
Oh, I couldn't believe that.
We got really good seats. We got bumped up as well. And we blagged up getting right fourth row. It was amazing. And there was no fouls. It was a really clean game. So there was just no stoppages. There was no timeouts. It just ran through.
Can I put a bit of context to this for our listeners? So when you go to watch the mighty Orlando Magic, so if you're in the first... I want to say 10 rows, you actually go via another entrance. So you go by a VIP entrance and you go into...
Which is in the rear.
Which is in the rear. And you go into... I just repeated what you said. What have I just said? Oh, you laughing, so I've said something. It's in the rear of the arena. Is that just BS? Oh... Okay, I've lost him. Anyway, so you go in through this entrance, lots of security. I think we went through 3 security like checks, and then you go into like a private, I want to say restaurant that's like underneath the seats.
Yeah,
it's it's a free bar.
Yep.
Free bar.
Oh yeah.
Free food, and when I say food, I'm not talking crappy food. It was proper meals, like a roast dinner, isn't it?
That was the first time we ate proper
on that holiday.
Proper food in the in the holiday. Yeah, it was like a week in. It's like, oh, these are vegetables. Oh yeah, we're in America. We haven't eaten these for a while. Yeah,
so you can choose between the different roasts you have and stuff like that. And then you've got, I mean, the cupboard was amazing, wasn't it? You have to, I don't know how to describe it other than say a cupboard. But imagine like a really wide cupboard with different shelves, and on like the top shelf will be load of crisps, second shelf, load of M&Ms, load of cookies, and load of Mars bars and stuff like that. Again, it's all free. Everything in there is free. So, I mean, yeah.
You had free beer as well?
A free beer. So, anyway, the whole point of this is you do have to tip. I think you tip the waiter, the barman. Anyway, getting beside the point, so you got free beer for the first 3 quarters of the game. So when you have the quickest game in NBA bloody history, when you're getting free beer, it was like, this is typical.
You want the longest.
Yeah. But another story with this. So we were with another two people at this game, and our seats were split. There was 2 seats together in row 4, 2 seats in row 6, and our plan was Mark and I would go in row 6 for the first half. They would go in row 4 for the first half, and then switch it up. So we sat down in our seats. I mean, arguably the best basketball view I've ever had, easily. And the other 2 guys, they went and sat in the other seats, and then
because it was on the centre court. On the centre line as well.
Like
it wasn't
the TV view.
Yeah,
is how I'd say.
Proper TV view.
Yeah, and like literally, you had like someone like the frickin' Rock sat in front of my brother, and this guy must have been like 6'8" or something, and we were just sitting there going, "Oh look, that is bad luck having that guy in front." And then no word of a lie, we had probably the smallest people.
They were from the forces, weren't they? They were from, because what they do around like the stadiums, they give a certain amount of seating up to their serving forces, don't they? For like Army, Air Force, Navy. And it was 2 ladies who were in, I guess it was Army outfits, but they came in and they must have been like 4'1" or something.
Oh, they were tiny. They were absolutely tiny, but they sat down and it was like, wow, it's literally like no one's in front of us.
Yeah, their head wasn't much higher than the back of the seat. It was like, this is fantastic.
This is fantastic. And at half time, my brother's like, do you want to swap? We have got a great view here. And I'm like, no, you stay there. You stay there. You're all right.
Have a lovely time.
You're all right.
But in that game, at one point, Orlando were down by, they were up by 14. And it was like, this is amazing. It's like we'd watch them win. I think this is great. We're gonna watch another win. We went down to the bar, came back with your beers.
Yeah.
And I was carrying your beers, so you could carry more. Got there, and it's like, why are we like 2 points down now? And we were 12, 14 up, and they just went on a run.
Yeah, we went long. It was like what, 2 minutes at the bar?
Walk down the stairs, walk round, go straight in there. There's no one in the bar. And then as they see you coming, they're like, that's what he orders. There's a lemonade and there's 2 beers. Or it's 3 beers and a lemonade, I think it was. Your beers, obviously. And then literally walk back through.
Yeah.
Why are we down? So not even 2 minutes. And I mean, that's the excitement of basketball, that it can change that quickly, obviously. But you just thought, what's going on? What? And they just, I think it was, can't think of his name now. Something from
Indiana were on fire. I think they beat Orlando that night, from what I remember.
Oh, they did, yeah. But they literally just kept feeding this guy the ball, and it was like in 3, in 2, in 3, and he went on this streak. It was like a 14-point streak not in 2 minutes.
But yeah, sorry to take over your story.
No, you're
but
not.
That's it was. I just want to add context to that. That was the night I rolled my ankle outside the Magic locker room.
Well, they ended up losing by 8 points in that game, and you think 8-point loss. And
sorry, this is now the back on the Surrey Scorchers.
Leicester Riders.
Yeah, but
Surrey
they're up by
Scorchers.
23. So
they're up by 23.
They'll be frustrated with themselves.
I mean, that's got to be, especially when they'd come off their first win, and you think, okay, we're getting something under us. That's got to be a real shame. So, yeah, maybe disappointing for the Southern performance there. But congratulations to Leicester on that win.
Well, Mark, let me go on to my point. You're impressed with that, weren't you?
If you could have seen how he pressed that button, you would not be impressed.
You're impressed with that footwork. That's what I'll say. Right, so Mark, continuing on with the Surrey Scorchers, they've got their second win. They have got their second win, and what a game it was against the Plymouth City Patriots. And I got to say, I feel sorry for Pat Riots, the legend that is Pat Riots. He had to see his team lose. And I like Pat Riots, you know I do. And
you do have a soft spot
he's
for
the
dog.
mascot. I didn't realise his tongue always is hanging out the side. That's really
it's
cool.
like a Scooby-Doo kind of thing, isn't it?
Yeah, that looks very cool. He does like this trampoline dunk every third quarter, between the third and fourth quarter. So, yeah, you know, like the whole trampoline dunk. So, legend known as Pat Riots. He had to watch.
Have you ever done one of them?
No.
A trampoline dunk?
No. I've done the wall, you know, where you jump and kick off the wall. Everyone's done that. That's probably as far as I'd have gone. Is it hard on a trampoline?
It hurts your hand because you're just not used to it. So if you jump on it and you get a bit higher than you're probably used to, I could only tip a ball in. I couldn't dunk it.
Well, I don't.
I could dunk the small balls. I could dunk them, and I got a tip in on one ball, but that was it. I'm not tall enough.
Well, I know where you're going. I don't think Blue, the Portsmouth Force mascot, is going to be able to do a dunk, Mark.
No, I'm saying, why don't you do one?
Not at 5'2".
Yeah, but you're the announcer. Why don't you do it? That'll be a real shock to the fans. The announcer's going to run out, and he's going to do a trampoline dunk.
Some old man going to do a trampoline dunk because he's too fat to do it normally.
Have you seen the clip? You said some old man. Have you seen the clip of some guy, he's clearly in his mid-40s, running down an NFL pitch? And I can't remember, I think it was Kevin Hart. He posted it out, and he's like, I can relate to this. And this guy starts sprinting, and he's sprinting down this NFL track, and you're like, he's doing all right. And then his hammy goes.
Oh, no.
And he starts pulling up, and then it's like, his body ran out of talent. His body just went, mate, you're 40, you're not 20. And
it
just
catches up.
It shut him right down.
It
great.
catches up. Hey, Mark, look, you're taking away the glory of the Scorchers here.
No.
Shut up. You're taking away the glory of the Surrey Scorchers with their win.
Sorry, I apologise. I would never do that to you.
So, look, I'm going to mention Paddy at Wang, the big man, number 10.
Yep.
With 22 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists.
That's a good stat line. That's a great stat line.
He also, oh man, I've completely forgot the play. I've watched so much basketball, I've completely forgot the play. I want to say, no, I remember it now. So there's a guy called number 12, guy called Josh Steele.
Worst name ever.
Josh.
Number 12.
No, got number 12 for Surrey, Josh Steele. So, I've completely lost my train of thought. Oh, that's it. So Patriots were up by 2. Patriots up by 2. Josh Steele had the testicular fortitude to pull up for a free mark.
Oh, really?
At the with 2 seconds left.
Oh, fair play to you.
He bricked it. But Paddy at Wang, the big man, number 10, catches it in the air. Boom! Let's go to overtime.
I thought you were saying he actually nailed that. Not
No,
he pulled up for it.
No,
and he bricked it.
Still misses the 3. Still misses 3. But the big man, number 10, Wang gets that ball, gets the rebound, takes Surrey into overtime when they win 110-105. So we've got to say a big shout out to Surrey. We've been looking forward to them getting their win, and they've got 2 in 10 days now.
Yeah.
Or really 8 days, whatever it is.
Do you go for the win, or do you go for that overtime? Honestly, as a coach, I would always think if you take the best shot that is available to you, I think that's surely the right answer.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. You go with a better shot.
Because where you said he went for the big 3.
And he was open. It was the right shot. In fairness to him,
exactly.
it was the right shot. It wasn't fortunate enough to go.
Because you have that thing of some people want to do hero ball, and I like Luca. You've seen a couple of things recently with Luca. He's done some hero ball recently, but he's Luca, so he's got the talent that he can just. I mean, he called the bank on one of them, but you often. I would always want to see someone go to push to overtime. If you've got that little time left, go play for the overtime, because then you can recount and go, right, now we're back on level pegging. We've got another 12, 15 minutes, whatever time we need to do.
Yeah. I agree with your first comment. I think it's the right shot.
Go for the right shot.
So if you've got, let's say, look, you got Steph Curry wide open through a 3 to win the game, are you going to say, no, drive in for the 2? You're going to go, let it fly, let it go.
Yeah, because you live with, you can still, we've seen DeAndre Jordan, he had an open layup and a dunk, and he, do you see that when he bounced off?
There's loads. You can think loads. Look at, I don't know why this one popped in my head, Patrick Ewing, NBA, was it conference finals?
Yeah.
He's through against Indiana.
Yeah.
Open layup, bounces out.
That's last Nick Anderson about shooting free throws.
I think it's the right shot. If you're open and you're feeling good, go for it. Let it fly. Let it rip. But anyway, look, Paddy Wang, big man, number 10 for Surrey Scorchers. Got to highlight him this week for his huge. He's got to be MVP of that game. Got to be.
You got another BBL. You got another BBL this week, and you're talking about a coach, I believe.
Oh, you want me to? Yeah. I mean, this is. It's more. I was going to talk about. What are you doing? You fiddling?
I'm touching
levels.
Yeah, mine down.
Right. Give me a jingle, Mark. Doesn't matter what. Oh, like that. Right.
As a coach, I thought. Let's introduce a coach.
Well, I've made a note about the coach. The main point I wanted to make was you got the Manchester Giants taking on the Cheshire Phoenix tonight, Mark.
Yes.
Actually, that's a bit irrelevant. By the time you put this out, it's going to be tomorrow. So, okay, if you listen to this, it's not tonight, it's yesterday.
Or if you're listening yesterday, it could be tomorrow.
If it's what? Yeah, you just what? Anyway,
they could be time travelers.
Okay, if they're time travelers, it could be in 7 years' time if you're time travelers.
I mean, so, they might not use a Gregorian calendar. You don't know.
Well, the Manchester Giants are taking on the Cheshire Phoenix tonight, and that is a big game. Cheshire are doing really well in the league at the moment, but this is the Northwest Derby, Mark. The Northwest Derby, and last time the Giants lost 83-67. And the reason I just want to highlight this was because you got this derby coming up tonight, which is going to be good. But there was a great interview from the Manchester Giants head coach, Brian Simonian.
You love picking the names, don't you?
He scares me a bit, Mark.
Really?
If you were playing and he said, Paul, you need to do 50 suicides now, you're going to do it.
Really?
Yeah. Just look at him. He's like, whatever he says, you're doing it. But reason I just wanted, it was a great little interview. So if you got a moment, definitely go and check that out. Did you know he's head coach and GM?
Really?
Yeah, he's head coach and GM, so he's got double the work. He coached in his coaching history at Rucker Park, the famous outdoor court in New York, which is always interesting. And he has also spent some time with the Cheshire Phoenix. And now he's returned back to Manchester and they're taking on the Phoenix. So there's a little bit of history there.
I mean, in the table, realistically, Cheshire are 4th and Manchester are 8th.
But look, when you've got Jamal Anderson, when you got him in your team, doesn't matter, Mark.
Yep.
Doesn't matter. But you've got the Cheshire Phoenix head coach. Oh man, some of these names. John Cafino, I think his name is. Now, I didn't realise John Cafino. Cheshire John. Him and Brian Simonian, they actually were coaching in the NBA D-League together. So they're aware of each other. And I think that's where they met up
as well.
And that's where the link came from. So they're going head-to-head tonight. And also, I could be wrong. I haven't looked this up. It was just something I heard in a random game as it was happening. But I think Jamal Anderson for the Manchester Giants, I'm fairly confident he actually used to be part of the Phoenix setup. So this is a big game for him tonight. So even though on paper you're looking at the league and stuff like that, and on paper going, I think that, it's going to be a tough one to Giants. This is a derby, and I think there's a bit of history there with Jamal. So I want to say this is going to be a good game, and I think this is going to be a close game. But it's just a feeling. Who knows? But that's my point. If you haven't seen that thing, go and check out the interview by Brian Simonian, head coach and GM of the Manchester Giants.
Yeah. I mean, it's worth saying just for upcoming games, actually. You got Manchester Giants and Phoenix tonight, and you've also...
Or yesterday.
And then on November the 3rd, you've got the Patriots are against the Gladiators. And you've also got London Lions versus Bristol Flyers, which will be an interesting one because obviously that's essentially first versus second.
Sorry, who? The Patriots are playing who?
Patriots are playing Gladiators tomorrow on the 3rd.
Where's that?
I'm guessing they're playing at... Well, it's the first team that you call out the ones that are home, aren't they, usually? Usually home versus away.
Yeah, I mean, just you got to look at the Gladiators' home form at the moment. Got to look at that.
Well, Gladiators beat Riders at home, didn't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you're saying they're at home?
They're away.
Oh, they're away. Okay.
Yeah, so they're at Plymouth. The Gladiators are at Plymouth.
Well, and never know.
Plymouth was one of there's that really great pavilion, isn't it, where it goes arches up.
Great call. Hey, look, if Pat Wrights is in the building, Mark, anything can happen.
Anything could happen. And then you've got London Lions versus the Flyers on the 3rd as well. But that'll be interesting because, like I say, they're first and second.
Is that where they're going to give the London Lions the league trophy?
Well, it is in London, so... Yeah,
I'd be getting it out and say, look, unless you lose 3 in a row.
Look, Bristol are on a roll at the moment. They've hit 7 in a row. They're going into it feeling confident. Yes, London have had 11 wins, but they've also played one extra game and they've lost some other bits.
Now I've said this, I bet Lions will lose one.
I mean, it's not that we want you to fail. It's just that we want
exciting league.
An exciting league. Yeah.
Well, the rest of the league's exciting. Anyone can beat anyone. I mean, I've got to say, few people got close, but no one's done it yet.
Yeah. So that's on the Friday, and then on the Saturday, you've got Surrey Scorchers versus the Cheshire Phoenix. You've also then got Leicester Riders versus the Newcastle Eagles, and you've got Sheffield Sharks versus Manchester Giants. They're all on the Saturday. So that's 3 pretty decent games. And then on Sunday, you got Bristol Flyers home to the Caledonia Gladiators, and the Plymouth City Patriots are home to the London Lions. So, some good basketball this week. I don't think the league's going to change that much. Maybe some mid-table sort of stuff. But did you want to say what the league is at the moment? Where the standings are at for people?
Yeah, London are at the top, and everyone else can beat everyone else. I think we've summed it up, Mark. I think I think you know. I mean, London are flying.
Plymouth are 10th at the moment.
Bristol are doing very well.
Manchester. Now, the reason I think it's interesting, 6th, 5th, 4th, and 3rd are all tied. Caledonia, then Cheshire, then Leicester, then Sheffield Sharks. They're all on 5 wins, and then they will have a mixture of how many losses depending on how many games they've played. But they're effectively all tied, which is quite, an interesting mid-table. And then you've got the Giants and Scorchers sort of down near the bottom, and Plymouth are sat at the bottom at the moment, unfortunately.
Mark, I just noticed a stat early in the season, but the difference is a 4-point difference in league points between 2nd and 6th.
Yeah.
That is open. That is wide open.
Exactly, except for 1st.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The rest of it, you think, wow, anything can happen there.
Yeah, so you're playing for pride and place, but
you're talking one loss somewhere, a win somewhere, and bam, look, someone can, a place can change. Thank you very much for listening to this episode. That is the end of this part. But do not worry, because coming soon is the second part of this episode, and it will be available soon.